This week's episode of SmackDown was nothing short of cinematic, an adrenaline-charged roller coaster ride filled with shocking twists, emotional confrontations, and family drama that left the WWE Universe speechless. From the moment the show opened, there was an unshakable tension hanging in the air, a feeling that something seismic was about to unfold. Whispers from Backstage hinted at mounting friction, and as the show progressed, that tension erupted into chaos in the most dramatic way possible. Jacob Fatu, a powerhouse in his own right, had stepped into the ring with the confidence and determination that have come to define his performances. But what began as a routine contest quickly spiraled into something far more dangerous and personal. Without warning or remorse, Solo Sikoa emerged, bringing with him JC Mateo, and together they launched a savage, cold-blooded ambush on Fatu. The attack was relentless, brutal, and calculated. Every move intended to hurt, humiliate, and remind everyone watching exactly who held the upper hand. Fatu, despite his strength and fighting spirit, was clearly overwhelmed by the two-on-one assault. Each strike, each stomp, each double-team move landed with devastating precision, as if Sikoa and Mateo were trying to make a point not just to Fatu, but to anyone who might dare challenge their dominance. The crowd watched in stunned silence, disbelief etched on every face, until suddenly, the atmosphere in the arena shifted entirely. The roar of the WWE Universe exploded as Jimmy Uso's music hit, and he came sprinting down the ramp with the urgency of a man possessed. Jimmy didn't hesitate. He wasn't there to talk or hesitate. He was there to fight. Sliding into the ring, he instantly leveled JC Mateo with a picture-perfect superkick that echoed through the arena like a gunshot, sending Mateo crashing to the mat. Turning next to Solo Sikoa, Jimmy drove him back with a series of blistering strikes, forcing Solo to retreat, if only momentarily. The crowd erupted in chants, cheers, and chants of Jimmy's name, recognizing the gravity of what had just happened. In that moment, Jimmy Uso had made his stance clear. He wasn't going to sit back and let his blood be destroyed. He chose to intervene, not just out of duty, but out of loyalty to something deeper than titles or rivalries. He chose to protect family, even as those family lines grow increasingly blurred and broken. And that decision ignited a spark that could change the course of WWE history. After the dust began to settle and the roar of the crowd faded, cameras cut to a quiet but emotionally loaded backstage moment. Jacob Fatu, battered and bruised but still standing, made his way down a corridor with fire in his eyes and emotion heavy in his breath. He found Jimmy Uso, who was still breathing heavily from the chaos moments earlier, sweat dripping down his face and intensity radiating off him. Their eyes met, and for a long moment, there was only silence, and understanding passed between them without a single word. Then, Fatu stepped forward and said quietly but firmly, "I owe you one. You had my back when it really counted." It was a statement filled with gratitude, pride, and the acknowledgement of a bond that can't be easily broken. Jimmy, still catching his breath, nodded and replied, "That's what blood does. Even when the lines between ally and enemy get messy, we don't leave each other behind." It was more than a thank you. It was a moment of honor in a landscape of betrayal. But if fans thought that was the end of the conflict, they are sorely mistaken. Solo Sikoa is not one to accept defeat quietly. With JC Mateo still aligned at his side and vengeance no doubt brewing in his mind, Solo is far from done. The fire in his eyes after being driven from the ring by Jimmy said everything. This war is just beginning. The ties of the bloodline, once seen as indestructible, are now fragile and fractured, stretched thin by betrayals, revenge, and personal ambition. Every match, every stare-down, every word spoken backstage now carries more weight. The question now is no longer who will win, but who will survive. Will Jimmy and Fatu's renewed bond hold strong in the face of relentless attacks? Can Solo Sikoa rally and strike back with more fury than ever? And where does JC Mateo truly stand in this evolving power struggle? The entire WWE Universe is watching as this emotional family saga continues to unravel before our eyes. It's not just a story of brother versus brother, cousin versus cousin. It's a story of legacy, trust, pain, and redemption playing out live, week after week, on the grandest stage of them all. If you thought tonight was dramatic, think again. This was only a glimpse of what's to come. The war for control, respect, and identity within the bloodline is reaching a boiling point, and every step forward brings us closer to an explosion that will change everything. So don't blink, don't look away. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay connected for even more exclusive footage, breaking updates, and behind-the-scenes moments that will give you an inside look at one of the most personal and explosive storylines in WWE today. SmackDown is heating up, and the true battle has only just begun. SmackDown absolutely lit up this week with one of the most intense and emotionally charged episodes in recent memory, sending shockwaves through the WWE universe as long-standing tensions boiled over, alliances started to crumble, and unexpected loyalties were tested under the bright lights of the arena. From the very start of the night, there was a sense that something was brewing behind the scenes, whispers of betrayal, shifting power, and unresolved family drama that had been simmering for far too long. The chaos reached a boiling point when Fatu stepped into the ring, prepared to face off in what many thought would be a straightforward matchup. However, the situation quickly took a dangerous turn. Without warning, Fatu found himself caught in the middle of a brutal ambush, a cold and calculated 2-on-1 assault orchestrated by none other than Solo Sikoa, who had JC Mateo by his side. The attack was ruthless, unrelenting, and clearly designed to send a message. Fatu, known for his incredible resilience and raw power, was momentarily overwhelmed as Sikoa and Mateo took turns dismantling him with a series of punishing strikes and tag-team precision that left the audience stunned. For a moment, it looked like there would be no escape, no saving grace for Fatu. That is, until the unthinkable happened. Out of nowhere, the arena's energy shifted as Jimmy Uso's entrance music hit. The crowd erupted in a deafening roar as Jimmy sprinted toward the ring with a sense of urgency that could only come from deep personal conviction. Without missing a beat, Jimmy launched himself into the fray, delivering a thunderous superkick that floored JC Mateo instantly. The force of the impact sent Mateo crashing to the mat as Solo Sikoa, momentarily stunned, stepped back in disbelief. The sudden shift in momentum turned the tide, giving Fatu the breathing room he so desperately needed. The crowd was on fire, feeding off the adrenaline and intensity of the moment. It wasn't just about stopping an unfair beatdown, it was about sending a clear message. Jimmy Uso had chosen a side, and in that split second, the entire narrative shifted. After the dust settled and the chaos faded from the ring, the camera cut to the backstage area where emotions were still running high. Fatu, still catching his breath and recovering from the earlier